Good morning, Sports and Coffee. So it's time for the Big Country Football 1952 championship game. I am doing the pregame work. So I've just finished writing down all of the stats for the leaders, and then I do kind of the highlights for the teams and their head-to-head, etc. This is my pregame. So again, it gets me pumped up and excited for the championship game, and then I can break down the game, from a commissioner slash commentator, and then this is put away with all my championship write-ups, basically. All right, so what I've done is went ahead and got the player stats for Springfield completed. And Central City, of course, was already, most of it was already done for, most of these players were already done for touchdowns, turnovers for the awards, but not all the stats had been generated. And yes, again, I simulate statistics based on their grade for the game they're in. So I rarely do it as I go because the games fit in this book on one sheet, so I can't put the stats on the sheet. So I always do the stats later, and I just do the stats. I used to do the stats, like try to catch them up. Like I might play 2 or 3 weeks and then try to catch everybody up. That was kind of a nightmare. So now I either do them as I go and track them, or I wait till the end of the year and I do the average and then multiply that by the number of wins or losses. So it's can't I think ideally it's best to do every single game because it'd be more a sense of more that every game is unique. But I've used different formulas for stat generation. Either way, everything jives within the range of games that I play, so I never have a problem with that. All right. But let's catch us up. So how did they get here, right? So one of the things I do is how do they get here? How did they get here, right? So Central City got here with a 4-4 record. So they finished 1952 4-4 with a win over Coldell. When's their last championship? So then we can go here to all my records. Let's see here. Okay, so 1947, which was a playtest season. So I always I always complete an entire season when I'm playtesting the games before I ever publish them. And in that, Central City was the champs in 1947. So Central City was the champs in 47. That same set of teams were just carried over for 48. And in 48, Paradise City was the champs. Runner-up was Middleton. So Central City won in 47. And then, 47. 48, they were not involved in the thingy. Central City, 49, they were not in a championship. Let's see here. 50, they were not in the championship. 51, they were not in the championship. So I misspoke. I thought they had been in the championship 2 years ago. And of course, 52, they are in the championship. So the last title, so their last title was 1947. So they have won in the last 5 years, Central City. Okay, so Springfield, how did they get here? They finished 5-2, 1952. They finished 6-2, excuse me. 6-2 with a win over Grand Bay. And Springfield's first appearance, their first championship appearance. So there's going to be nerves here for the Springfield Army, technically, right? These guys are They're going to be wound up for this. Central City might be too. In 5 years, they've had a new quarterback. They've had new backs. Black has been around since 47. Wilkie's been around since 47. Porter was not in 47. Nye was around in 47. So Central City, although they haven't been in the championship for 5 years, many of these guys, Ward was around in 47. So much of Central City is intact except a new quarterback and two new backs and I think a new tight end. But and Springfield's getting here for the first time. Olstead, came in the league 2 years ago. Pip's been around since 47. Price has been around since 47. McGregor came into the league last year. A stud who's come on strong in his second year, I think. Vernon came in, I want to say, 50 or 51. Olson's been around since 47. And Clark's been around since 47. So Springfield's, got a couple of new pieces here, but they finally have put it all together. So let's go ahead and set this book aside because that is more of my working book. But let's just go back and see last time these two teams met. Last time they met. Well, let's go take a look. Last time they met, ... Let's go all the way back here for week. Weeks 3 and 4. Here we go, 1952. Springfield, there it is. They met in week 1. Olstead threw 2 touchdowns, Sullivan threw 2 touchdowns, and Springfield won 29-26 in Central City. Damn, week 1. Springfield won 29-26. Both QBs threw 2 touchdowns. I don't believe they met again, but sometimes teams do. Yep. Oh, damn. Central City was 2 and 4 in week 6. Then they met again in week 6. Springfield won 17-14. Folks, this is going to be a dogfight. Central City was forced to punt 5 times and they had a turnover. Clark hit the game-winning field goal. It was 1 for 1 in the game. It was the game-winning field goal. So these two teams are pretty damn cool. Did they meet again? Central City, no, of course not. So now here, playoffs. I got to write this in here. Playoff week 8. Coaldale lost 14-26. Grand Bay scored 27, got hammered. 42. Springfield, that's the most points scored on the season. I'll have to write down the highlights here later. All right, so then we got Springfield. That's week 1. So these are all the actual games. Oh, here we go. Springfield, Central City. Springfield was up 14-6 at halftime. Scored 12 more in the third. Central City blew up and scored 14 in the third and got 6 in the fourth, but it wasn't enough. They lost 29-26. This was the Kickoff Spectacular. This game is probably on the channel. Normally, the first game of the season, I do a video, Kickoff Spectacular. This might be on the channel. Ward started the season with a field goal, and he ended the playoff with a field goal. So Ward has bookended their actual regular season and playoffs with field goals. Ward led the league easily, doubling up the second closest in field goals. Unbelievable. Olstead in the second quarter threw 2 touchdowns. Sullivan threw 2 touchdowns. So the third quarter of game 1 between these two teams was an absolute blast. However, Springfield missed the field goal. Oh, Springfield missed both extra points. That's why they have 12. My God. So Ward, who is by far the best place kicker in the league, who's hit 17 field goals, counting the playoffs, missed back-to-back extra points in the Kickoff Spectacular against this team. My God. But then he made up for it with 2 fourth-quarter field goals, and that's how they won the game. Are you kidding me? Olstead of Springfield fumbled the ball away even. They didn't win the game. Sorry. He made 2 kicks, but didn't win the game by by 3 points, but Olstead fumbled the ball away and Ward kicked a field goal. I guess they thought they'd get the ball back on an onside kick. Didn't happen. And then we got week 6, I believe, was the next time they met. Week 6. Okay, there's game 1. Game 2. Yep, Springfield. Week 6, game 3, Springfield. So it was 7-7 at halftime. Both teams shut out in the third. And Springfield scored 10 in the fourth. Central City scored 7. And they won 17-14. Punts, and Jones had a touchdown run. Sullivan had a sack by Mack. And Vernon recovered the fumble. So there's a couple of those box score points right here. Olstead then threw a touchdown to Gabriel to tie it in. And then the third quarter, all punts. First kickoff spectacular was 26-point quarter for the two teams and a shootout in the third. Here, neither team scores a point in the third. So these two teams were beat up at this point or knew each other really well. Either way, they both turned up the heat on defense. And then Sullivan threw a touchdown pass. Olstead threw a touchdown pass. There was a punt, and then Clark got the game-winning field goal. And folks, Central City has lost both games this year to Springfield by a total of 6 points. 29-26 in the kickoff spectacular, and then 17-14. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and see the totals. Let's do this right now. So let's, without further ado, Central City 139, and they scored in their playoff game. Central City scored, that's game 7. Central City in their playoff game scored 26. So 165 divided by 8, they're averaging 20.6. So Central City, points per game, 20.6. Their points against per game, 135 plus 14 divided by 8. They're giving up 18.6. That's pretty awesome. If you add those up, that is 39.4. That is basically the NFL average for about 70, 60 years in pro football. So again, my big country football, football time versions, all of them, they are designed to really give you averages, and so it works great. Springfield. All right, Springfield, though, 157. They're going to be the team, and they scored 42 in the playoffs. They scored 199 divided by 8. They scored 24.875. So that's going to be points per game, 24.9. We're going to round it to 24.9. That is one of the best offenses we've had in a couple of years, I think. I'd have to look back. They gave up the 134 plus 27. Divided by 8. They give up 21.1. Woo! Springfield's offense has technically carried this team. They give up 21.1. This is going to be one hell of a matchup, folks. As we already know, they've already faced each other twice, and they've been 3-point games. All right, so let's go ahead now and move on here to the championship game. I am not going to play. Again, our owners' meeting, they voted for no expansion. They voted to go to a single table in future, no more 2 divisions. We're going to be using TS4, which I'll be using today, for game resolution, and we're going to be using TS4 or the D66 full football simulator for full games. I want to use TS4 today because I wanted this video to feature me talking about the two teams. So again, I have 48 in this notebook here, along with off-season and stuff, 49 in this notebook, 50 in this notebook. Some of it carries over, so some of 48 carried over into 49, 49, little of it carried on into 50, 50 carried on into 51, and I've been able, because the league was cut in half as the league broke up. One half the teams left to do their own thing, and the BCFL stayed together. So I was able to fit 2 seasons in this notebook. And folks, this is going to be fantastic. So we got Central City, Springfield. I've got all the data here. So yes, this is what I do. I try to do something like this for all of my leagues when I am playing a career. I like to track players. I like to track what they've done. I like to track what the teams have done. The games are fast. The seasons are fairly quick, but I don't rush through them. I generally want to savor the details. I like to simulate statistics. Now, I don't simulate stats for everything. Like baseball, it's just I don't have a really good. We have had somebody in the community create a really cool simulation for Big Country Baseball Time to help you simulate or make sense of the box stats from the box scores. So I just haven't used it myself because I don't play a ton of baseball. I may play a lot more now with this version of baseball. And again, there's been some confusion. These PDFs are available. This book is available still for purchase, different cover. But this PDF along with TSS is available. Apparently, I had said in the video when I introduced these, there would never be a PDF of these, and so obviously, never say never. I got that wrong. Either way, they, I think, have been in that Google Drive since the day I released them, so I don't know why I felt that way or why I said that, but they're available. So, okay. So we're going to need the book for play, and I am going to use my detail deck for the big championship game. Instead of rolling dice or sequential stats, I'm going to be using this deck. So when there is a punt or there's a turnover, there's a touchdown or a field goal, I use this details of this deck to tell us the story of the game. D6 for all scores. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look now, folks. This is it. So we have Central City at 4-4 facing Springfield for the third time in 1952. You can't ask for a better setup. These two teams have clearly been dogs at the fence, man, nose to nose, snarling, snapping, and apparently Springfield gets the better of Central City in the fence combat. If any of you who have dogs know what I'm talking about, right? Or when you're walking your dogs, you know what I'm talking about. Central City last won a championship in 1947. Sully was not the quarterback when they did. This year, including the playoffs, 1,394 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, only 2 turnovers. Sully is a big reason why this team is here, even with a 4-4 record. He is not prone to turn the ball over. The running back Jones, fantastic. 631 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. Not the best year rushing in our league's history, not even the best rushing this year for backs, and only 3 touchdowns. Tells you that Central City's clearly mixed it up. Their top receiver, though, 38 catches, 417 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also returned a punt for a touchdown. Wilkie, their top defensive lineman, 3 sacks on the season. Porter, their top backer, with 2 fumble recoveries and an interception for 3 points. And Nye, their top DB, 2 interceptions and a touchdown for 3 DB. So all 3 of their line, their backer, and their DBs all had 3 box score points. Remember, you get a point for everything you do in a box score. So 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, interception, that's 3, and 2 interceptions, 1 for a TD, that's 3. So Nye, all of them, that's 9 box score points basically among these 3 players. There are other box score points by this defense. They just don't qualify for leaders. How did they get here? Well, in 44, they beat Coldell in the playoffs. They last won their title in 47. Okay, and then on the flip side, Springfield, Olstead, a new quarterback. I think he came into Springfield in 50 or 51. He had 1,576 yards passing, including the playoffs. 13 touchdowns, but 5 turnovers. Last week, Olstead had a personal best of 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. So Olstead sent a clear message to whoever they might face in the championship. He is on fire. No turnovers in that game for Olstead, by the way. I don't think. Did he? He might have turned it over. I may have miscounted. Nope. So he did not turn it over in that game. So he has 13 touchdowns counting that game, plus 5 turnovers on the season. Pip had 491 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. Remember, touchdowns is running and receiving, not just running. So I do total touchdowns. So Pip had 491 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. Not a lot of production running, because he has his fullback who's pretty dang good, Smith, but he did score 11 TDs, which is by far the best in the league. Price caught 45 passes for 609 yards, only 4 touchdowns, but he did lead the league with 4 touchdowns. Their young, up-and-coming defensive lineman had 5 box score points with 5 sacks, including sacking Sullivan once in each of their last 2 games. So McGregor had a sack against him in both the last 2 games. So McGregor likes to say hello to Sullivan in these games. Vernon had 3 fumble recoveries on the season. Of course, most of those fumbles came from McGregor's sacks. So McGregor would get a sack and Vernon would receive the fumble recovery, according to my event charts, right? So that's how that works. But there's also chances of fumble recoveries in here. Olsen also had 3 box score points with 3 interceptions on the season. And again, their place kicker, Clark, only needed 7 field goals this year to be 6-2. So they did not need Clark ultimately. However, he did get a game-winning field goal in Central City in the kickoff spectacular, week 1, game 1 between these 2 teams. So what a way to finish the season. They opened up 29-26 game in which Clark had to win it in the final moments. They met again later in a defensive 10-7 ugly fest. And now, folks, who knows what this game is going to entail. Again, Springfield went 6-2 on the season, beat Grand Bay handedly in the playoff, their first championship appearance in their history. Central City scores 20.6 points a game. Springfield scores 24.9. It's 4-point difference, 5-point difference. However, Central City only gives up 18.6, and Springfield gives up 21.1. So I always make a prediction based on just my guts, but also based on how they've been performing. So I'm gonna put down here Springfield. So this will be my prediction. I always do a prediction. Springfield 24 to Central City. I'm going to say 21. I think it's going to be another 3-point game, but this really means that Central City has to take advantage of that poor Springfield defense. Central City's defense is outstanding. If Springfield can score 24 points on this defense today, they should be champs. Ironically, I'm going to probably be wrong here, and it will be Springfield much lower scoring, and Central City would have to stumble. So I'm going with numbers, but to be honest with you, if I'm looking at the grades, so this would be based on grades. So this is based on numbers. I predict based on numbers here. But if I have a prediction based on grades, it'll be Central City 20 to Springfield 14. That's what if I'm just looking at their grades, I think Central City is going to find a way to win this 20 to 14 in the rubber match. This will be the 3rd game of the year. So this now, 8-21-26, goes into my file, and I have that handy little thing there when I want to reminisce, right, about my league's history. All right, folks, and again, I like fast play games because I like to get through the games. I like the ebb and flow of fast play games, but I don't like to just roll scores and move on and never contemplate. I like to reflect. I like to collect details, and the games are faster. But then doing the visualization in my head and putting things into context. I do that whether I'm on camera or not. I just don't talk out loud when I'm sitting here alone generally. Sometimes my wife will say, geez, I heard you in there. I sometimes get excited. But I only do commentary when I'm recording the game, so obviously. All right, so that gives the games a sense of weight and gravitas even when they're fast-play games. All right, folks, this is going to be a big deal. We've got Springfield. Again, my rules, the home team gets the ball first, gets the ball last, 16 possessions. It is 8-21, and may the best team win. And this will conclude my 1952 season. We have talked about the teams. Let's introduce the teams here before game time. Owner, Atkinson III. He is also the GM. Head coach, Thompson. Quarterback, Sullivan. Again, we've talked about him. He got the quarterback award, although that's based on turnovers versus touchdowns, and Sullivan had the best ratio, therefore he wins the award. Jones and Bowens in the backfield, running back, fullback. Split in Black, tight end Goldstein, and the flanker Wells are the chief receivers for Sullivan. The left tackle Brown, left guard Jacobson. We have a center Peters, right guard Brantley, and right tackle Marcus. These guys have got to do their job and keep McGregor and Vernon off of Sullivan. If they can do that, I believe this defense will help Sullivan win the championship for the second time in 5 years. Their punter is Bowens. He is a rookie. And by the way, he's also the fullback. So their fullback is also their punter. And Ward is their veteran place kicker who had 17 field goals on the season. He is, in a way, the secret weapon here for the Central City Aces and this A-rated defense. How do great defenses win? They take the ball away. They sometimes score points. Generally, they score points if they're great. But they'll have a place kicker that can support that defense, and hopefully a quarterback who doesn't turn it over. And everything they are at 4-4 is because of those three things. Central City wouldn't be here if those three variables weren't adding up, which is very cool. The defensive line is Wilkie at end and Carlton at end. Bastion and O'Shea are the defensive tackles. Strong side backers Porter, middle backers Lorch, and weak side backers Simon Jr. We have Nye and Cole at cornerbacks. Free safeties McBain, and Forsyth is the strong safety. The return man is wide receiver veteran Black. He will definitely be returning today despite injury potential. It is the biggest game of the year. There's no reason Black would not be the return man. And by the way, Black had a punt return for a touchdown this year. Again, special teams aiding a great defense. That's how those kind of teams, like the Baltimore Ravens, in 99 or 2000, those teams find a way to win with everybody and a great defense. All right, the Springfield Eagles make their first championship game appearance. Their owner is Bell, their GM is Ray, and their head coach is Franklin. Olstead, who had a brilliant game last week with 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Pip, one of the best backs and most consistent backs in our league's history, with 11 touchdowns on the season. Smith had a brilliant championship game with a running touchdown and a running reception. However, he also fumbled the ball away. Price is their veteran receiver. He led the league in touchdowns with 4. Their tight end Gabriel had 3 touchdowns on the season, and Winters had 3 touchdowns on the season, or 2 touchdowns on the season at flanker. Their left tackle is Thomas. Their left guard is Ruiz. Their center Martin. Their right guard Bowl. Their right tackle is Shiner. Boone is their veteran punter. Clark, their veteran place kicker. Again, Clark only needed to make 7 field goals this year in a team that is 6-2, so they did not rely on Clark often. On defense, the young McGregor, in only his second year, had 5 sacks. Tynes at nose tackle. This team runs what would be called the old Oklahoma 34 defense. It's called the Oklahoma because it's a 5-man front. They're technically ends, stand-up ends, like a 3-4 set, but Oklahoma would really have 5 down linemen that could potentially drop into coverage. But anyway, so kind of a 34 in the Oklahoma style. McGregor, Tynes is the nose tackle. Voss is the other end. And the 4 linemen, outside backer Vernon, who had 3 fumble recoveries this year. Mills is the other outside backer. Miles Jones is inside backer. Turner, the 4th, is the other inside backer. Cornerbacks are Weber and Reynolds, and free safety Stevens, and their best defensive back for years, Olsen, is at strong safety. Olsen used to be a cornerback. As he's aged, I've slid him down into the strong safety position, and he is still playing and has not failed to be the most productive defensive player for them. And their return man today is Evans, who is a specialist, even in 52. And there you have it, folks. Let's get started. We already know who wins the toss here. Let's get to our fullback football time charts. And again, the matchups. Let's get the matchups. This is where Central City is going to have an advantage despite their record. B versus D. B versus D is B. Uh-oh, Central City. That's a big deal. Springfield, B, their best offense in football. B, but they're facing the A. A versus B. A versus B is B. Uh-oh, folks, you can see why these games have been tight. I can't believe that they're So fortunately, they're going to maintain their status. Oh no, A. I'm sorry. B versus A. D. Whoops. See, I'm looking at A. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Springfield D. I thought that sounded weird, knowing that they have an A defense. So Central City on the road in the championship game, B versus D. By the way, we are at. Oh, I don't have the stadium written down. I think the stadium's in the book, though. Oh no, this doesn't have the big country teams in it. So I don't have the stadium at my fingertips. All right, and then we're using the American possession chart. For those who don't know, there's a Canadian chart in here as well now. Again, right, I put the Canadian chart back in this version. All right, folks, may the best team win. I think, again, based on the numbers and these what's been happening, Springfield is 2-0 against Central City this year. I predicted it will continue, and they'll win 24-21. However, based on grades, I have Central City winning 20-14 in holding down Springfield. So I have a feeling I know the grades and the game better than I trust the averages. But again, we play to find out, which is the motto of Candlelight Games. We play to find out. I don't care if it's role-playing or sports games. You play to find out. Nothing is pre-written. Nothing is predetermined. We don't have bias. We play to find out. And the other conceit of all of my gaming is I love the balanced die. A die that can produce any number in any percentage, any given moment. All right, Springfield gets the kickoff, returned out by Evans to about the 23-yard line, and they go to work facing the best defense in football. If not on the score charts, on the in the ratings. And they're looking at the D chart. They need a 5 or a 6 to score on the opening drive. And folks, they're going to have to punt. So Central City's defense gets the job done and holds Olstead and company. What is the punt? Why? It is a punt, just a straight punt. So there's no why. There's no sack. There's no big hit. It's just a 3 and out. Central City's defense playing good ball. Central City against this D defense has a huge advantage. They're on the B charts. They can score on 50% of their possessions, and they will fail to. They're going to punt, folks. They're both a little uptight. Central City's been here before. Most of their players have been in the 47 championship win, but both these teams would be a little tight. And Springfield definitely nervous, as this team has never been to a championship. Springfield, second drive of the game after the punt return. Wait, why did they punt? DL sack. How about that? Oh my God. Central City's Wilkie will collect a sack. So, Central City's Wilkie sacks Olstead, and Olstead and company have to punt. Here we go, Springfield. 3. It's going to be a punt. Why did they have to punt, man? Central City's defense. No. Yeah, that's right. No, Central City's McGregor got that sack. Whoa. See? McGregor. I said McGregor would like to say hello. He said hello to Sullivan in the last 2 games. He has now already said hello. And the Wilkie sack will just have to wait. Punt, just a straight punt. So let's go ahead and get that out of here. Central City's I'll put a scratch through it so I don't forget. He did not get a sack yet. McGregor got that sack against Sullivan, making it 3 sacks on the year, all of them at Sullivan's expense. This one in the big game. Central City goes to work with the B charts. And folks, 4 is a field goal chance. Lining up Ward from about 41 yards out. The kick is up. The kick is good. Ward gets his 18th field goal on the season. And folks, that wraps up the first quarter. Central City 3, Springfield 0. Springfield, the kick return out by Evans, out to about the 20. And they go to work, and they will have to punt. Oh, by the way, how far was that field goal? It was 21 yards. So I said 41. Nope, it was a chip shot, 21-yard field goal. A punt forced, intercepted by linebacker. Can't happen. It's a punt. So it would have been a linebacker, a batted pass. So I would see that as he jumped it, had his hands on it, couldn't hold on. So it was one of those highlight moments where the linebacker over here, Vernon, almost picked off the pass. Porter almost picked off the pass. Central City goes to work. They have a 3-0 lead, and here it is. 4 is going to be another shot at a field goal, so Ward lines up. And can he make the kick? Nope, he's going to miss. Ward blows it, misses a 36-yarder, missed field goal. of 36 yards. Ward, the crowd groans. Well, actually, the crowd here in Springfield will erupt in cheers as that keeps them in the game, folks. Springfield, after the missed field goal by Ward, the league's best kicker this year. Oh, and they're going to drive down the field. No, and the D chart's a field goal. Lining up for the kick is Clark, who won the game in week 1. Kickoff spectacular. The kick is from the 26-yard line. Does he make it? He lines up, measures, nods. They snap the ball 2 steps, boom, and he makes it. Folks, the crowd roars as Springfield's knotted the game at 3-3. Central City takes the kickoff out to about the 26, and they go to work, and they're going to score a touchdown this time. The TD is a 13-yard run by Jones. Jones with a 13-yard run. PAT is on the chart, and it's good. Folks, that is a killer as Central City now has made, let's see, Central City missed a field goal but got the touchdown. They've scored 7. Clark tied it briefly, and a 74-yard drive. Jones punches it in from the 13. And folks, Central City's up 10-3. I predicted this game based on numbers would be 24-21, based on the points per game, points against. But my prediction based on grades is 20-14. We are looking at 20-6 right now, as that A-rated defense puts a kibosh on Olstead. Olstead threw 4 touchdowns last week against a really good B defense. Right now, things are going to have to change for them, or they're going to go home losers in their first ever championship appearance. All right, folks, here we go. Central City gets the kickoff after the halftime pep talk by head coach Thompson, reminding Central City that they won the title back in 47. Most of you guys are already champions, but winning 2 titles in one's career might assure any of them with long careers a shot at the Hall of Fame. So he reminds them they could be Hall of Famers with 2 championship victories in their long careers. Sullivan, of course, wasn't in that game, so Sullivan wants to get his ring, and that's a good thing to be, a quarterback hungry for his ring. Sullivan, after the kick return by Black, ready to go. Nope, it's a turnover. What kind? Pass defended by LB. That isn't going to be good enough. So pass defended by the linebacker. So is it an interception? Nope, it's going to be a turnover on downs. So they actually went for it. And the pass was deflected by the linebacker. So turnover on downs. And linebacker Vernon. Actually, I'm going to roll for this. Which linebacker? No, it doesn't say. Let's roll. Yeah, it's going to be Mills. So Mills with a pass defended. That would actually be a box score point over the course of my season. You would count that as a highlight. He broke up and forced a TOD on a 4th down. So they went for it. The fans here roar as Central City, on their opening drive, trying to secure a game. Here's the thing. You never win the game early. You can lose the game early, but you can never win a game early. Central City, trying to put pressure on Springfield, goes for it, and it backfires. Will Springfield be able to parlay this with Olstead into points and punish them for this? 5 is going to be a field goal. The field goal is from 45 yards, so they don't get much of a drive. Clark with another chance, 45 yards. Will he make it? Do not roll a 1. It's good. Uh-oh, Clark makes it 10-6. Springfield fans roar as Central City returns the kick by Black out to the 23. And they're going to drive down for another touchdown. Folks, it's going to be a 8-yard pass to their best receiver, Black. Sully with an 8-yard pass TD to Black. And folks, the fans here in Central City in Springfield are stunned as Sully throws a touchdown pass against this team. And that might be all they need. Springfield gets a kick return out to about the 27. And they're going to drive down and settle for a field goal chance of 37. So Clark with another shot at a field goal. This one from 37. He lines up, 2-step, toe kick. No! Misses the field goal. The fans groan as Clark gets him on the board, but then he misses. Central City scores another touchdown. It is 17-6. Central City trying to prove me right based on grade, 20-14. However, Springfield may not get that much. Wow, Central City starts the... I can't believe Clark missed a field goal. That's too bad. And Central City went for it early. Incredible. All right, Central City starts the fourth quarter with a comfortable lead. And folks, they are going to kick a field goal from what distance? 30-yarder. So lining up, the best place kicker in football has missed one today from 30. Will he miss a second? No, it's good. Man, he better not miss a second. The crowd will... He'll get home at the bus station to a raucous and angry crowd if he misses another one. However, they're winning this, so they would forgive him. They're all smiles. They've got this one. Springfield takes the ball after the field goal, returns the kick out to about the 20. They drive down for a field goal, and Clark has a shot from 40. Field goals aren't going to win them this game, but they're trying their best to stay in it, and they do get it. So Clark and Ward exchange field goals in the fourth. Central City goes to work after a safe kick return, holding onto that ball with both hands. They're going to score a touchdown, put this game on ice. A 4-yard pass to Wells, the flanker. Sully in his debut. 4-yard pass TD to Wells, their flanker back. And the Central City all smiles. The bench erupts, smiling coaches as Sullivan, despite being sacked early in this game by McGregor, has righted the ship and thrown 2 second-half touchdowns. Springfield, what do? They're going to go into comeback mode, and we're going to shift up to the C chart. Oh, and they're going to turn it over. See, they got hurried, and it's a punt, right? So, turnover punt. It'll basically be, what do you call it? Time expires, end of game. We don't worry about the punt as it's just a detail. So they run out of time on a comeback run. It doesn't happen. Central City scores 10 points in the fourth, and Springfield gets a field goal. Folks, there it is, the championship game in the books, 27-9. Central City will finish 5-4 champs. Springfield will fall to 6-3, and they will go home losers, licking their wounds. Your champions today, folks, for the second time in 5 years. Now, the 1947 set was a playtest set, and those ratings from my playtest carried over to the book for the 1948 season. I didn't change any ratings because I had already playtested everything, so I'm just going to move those teams in for 48. And there it is, folks, Central City. So back-to-back weeks, Springfield's defense gave up 27 points. The difference is Springfield put up 42 against a mediocre Grand Bay team. Here, Central City, again, a buzzsaw of a defense. Springfield beat them with a game-winning field goal in the kickoff spectacular, 29-26. Springfield then beat them, what was that score? Springfield then beat them in week 6, 17-14. And Central City at that point righted the ship. They were 2-4 at that point. They righted the ship. This defense held strong. Ward started giving them cheap points, and they found a way. And they came in here clearly, 27-9, clearly ready for Springfield. They knew everything about this team at that point, and they knew what they were capable of doing. And Coach Thompson will get his second championship. Sullivan will get his first. Jones and Bowens get their first. Black will get his second. Goldstein will get his second. Most of these offensive line players, I believe, were on that team. Bowens is a rookie. He'll get his first. Ward will get his second championship. So pretty sweet. Absolutely amazing. Central City Aces are in the bag as the champs. So we're going to go back here now. Central City 27. Woo! To 9, and the MVP will be Sully with 2 TD passes, which he did in week 1 against this team, but they couldn't win it. So Springfield gave up 27 points in back-to-back weeks. Springfield's defense was the worst defense in the league was Unionville. Second worst, point-wise, was Central City. Again, this little monster kind of betrayed Central City in many games early in the season, despite that A grade. And then the third worst defense in the league, despite their record, was Springfield with 134 points given up. Not good. However, they scored 157, and that's why they're here. Central City, though, got the best of them, 27-9 in a brilliant game. And the MVP will be Sullivan with the MVP. Great season. 52 is in the bag. And now I do the off-season. Off-season, because I made the vote to change games, our off-season will be a little different in this book. I still track all of my big country football values. They just won't change. So what I mean by that, let me show you how I'm tracking that. I may run out of time here, hopefully not. So you'll see in my career, every time there's an off-season, so a 47 and 48 shared the same ratings, because again, I play tested 47. All of those ratings went into the book for 48, and so I played out 48 with the same ratings when I started sharing this on the channel once the book was published. So my owner grade, my GM grade, my head coach grade, my offense grade, my defense grade. This is for big country football and mini versions of Football Time. This particular version of Football Time, I believe, uses the same system, except there's a money system now back in this. Yeah, so I do need to track owner, manager, head coach, and offense defense. So nothing changes. We have our stadium, and then of course this particular version brings back the season credit earnings, right? So that's the difference. So I will be carrying over and redoing GMs. So for instance, let's see here, 51, here we go. So who won the championship? It's going to be Central City. Central City. Springfield's the runner-up. And then we're going to go Middletown. Doesn't have to be in any order. Middletown. Normally I put them in, actually, I think by draft order, but I'll just put them in here in order. Middletown, Grand Bay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Coldell, who had been in the championship for 3 years, hasn't been able to win it. Sad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They may really rue the day they didn't get a title, because if any of these really change, man, Coldell would be chasing ghosts for the rest of their, maybe for the next 5 or 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What am I missing? Oh, the worst team, Unionville. There we go. All right, so ownership never changes unless it changes. So there's been no reason to change owners. I haven't been using a financial module. I won't change this year because the financial module will be kicking in this year, right? So matter of fact, I should have dollar signs over here for finances. Matter of fact, let's go look. So, I don't know if I have my stadiums written down appropriately. I don't. I'm going to have to look up my stadiums. So I won't do that right now because I got to look them up in my other book for the stadium sizes. That'll tell me how much money these these teams have earned. So the stadium size dictates, and your wins and losses dictate whether you make money or break even. So I'll do that later. But anyway, ownership. I can go back. I can just go up to the top and see ownership. So Central City has an A owner. That's part of why they're where they're at. Springfield has a C owner. Middletown has an A owner. Grand Bay has a B owner. Coldell has a D owner. Oof. And that's not because he's bad. It's because he's a poor man. This guy was a player, coach / owner. Then he became a coach owner. He gave up playing, but he has no money is what it amounts to. And Unionville has B owner, which is really company owned. He's got the money, but he doesn't really care, right? It's kind of it's for entertainment for the boys, so to speak. All right, so we have to generate a new GM number, right? You use this GM for the off season. So I'll do the off season using the GM rating for this year, but we have to generate a new GM rating before next off season. And we do that by rolling the owner GM rating, right? So Pro Football, management grade. Okay, we use the owner grade for this. So Central City, their GM grade is their owner grade is an A. So what will their new GM look like next year? 4. He will be a B next year. And Central City was a C. So Central City won the title, and guess what, folks? Their GM grade's going to go up. So Central City's only going to get better. Woo! damn, there may be a dynasty in the making with quarterback Sully. We'll see, though. Springfield, they have a C owner. Uh-oh. And they go to a D. Springfield was a B. Oh, my land. So they're going to drop big time. They dropped 2 letter grades, right? The owner grade dictates the GM grade. That's why that can happen. So Springfield, who had their best chance, is now again, remember, we're going to use this grade for today's offseason. This is what they'll be using next year. So Springfield has one more year to try to maintain their integrity before their GM's scouting and preparation for next year shoots them in the foot, maybe. Maybe, not always. Sometimes nothing changes, so it doesn't matter. Middletown, A grade, 5. They stay in A. Or no, Middletown was A, so they stay in A. Outstanding, so they don't change. Grand Bay has an owner of B. 4 is B, so they're going to maintain. Coaldell is a D owner. They need a 6. Yes! They're going to go to a B. Wow. And by the way, last year Coaldell was a B. Oh, son of a gun. So they maintain. I must have rolled a 6 for them last year. And Unionville with a B owner. They're 4. They're going to be a B. And Unionville last year was a C. So they actually will improve. In 1954, they will have a better GM role. What GM represents is scouting staff, evaluating talent, evaluating your own team, and so it fluctuates. So I change GM rating every year in case there's a new head coach, offense or defense. We need to see that fluctuation to represent changes in offense and defense or head coach if they fire a head coach. Now, Unionville. They are the worst team in the league, so I'm going to start with Unionville. Do we fire their coach? And I hate to say it, but they gave up 174 points, won only 2 games. I think they're probably going to fire their coach. That is my former quarterback. So Tucci was my quarterback at Paradise City. When I was the coach of Paradise City, we won the title in the first year. He retired. I became the owner of Porter Bay, and I made him my head coach at Porter Bay. He won the title for me, so he was a back-to-back champ as a quarterback and a coach. And then when the league broke up and Porter Bay left, Tucci stayed in the league to become the new head coach of the Unionville Toughs. And Hill was so bad. The guy was a -10 turnover ratio at quarterback. I think Unionville will probably allow Tucci to stay. The man has got 2 rings, one as a quarterback, one as a coach. I don't see why they would fire Tucci, but they're going to have to replace Hill. So we'll see how that goes. So head coach is going to remain, and the head coach here for Unionville is a B. Well, that's another good reason to keep him. He's a B. All right. Coaldell, Georgievich owns the team. He's not going to replace himself. Georgievich, Coaldell. So they're kind of stuck with a... Oh, he's a B, though. All right. Middletown's head coach, Jameson, they're not going to dump him. He's won 2 titles in the last 3 years. Jameson is a B. So we got a pretty good coaching staff in this league. Grand Bay. They got an old man at quarterback. Would they fire this guy? He's a C. They're probably going to lose Grantham. They went 2-4-2. Yeah, we're going to fire Jones. Oh, wait, no. Whoops. I'm not making this decision. It's automated. Jiminy Christmas, Jay. I got to put every team through the offseason, so I shouldn't have wrote those down in case there was a head coach firing. Whoops. See what I mean? I got to pay attention to my own rules. Offseason. Let's start over. Central City. Their GM last year, man, my fault. I forgot how to play my own game. C. So their GM last year, what does he change? 5. He's going to change the defense. No. So Central City keeps their coach, who's a B, but he's going to change defense, which means the offense, fortunately, stays the same. Central City keeps their B offense. Uh-oh, folks, but they're changing their defense, their head coach. So we go back to the head coach chart. Their head coach is a B. Let's see what kind of defense he made. He had an A. They won the title. 6. They're going to stay with an A, I think. He is a B. Yep, A. Oh, good job. They maintain that defense, but there's a star, meaning there's a change, which means I have to represent narratively which of these stars would move on. So maybe Wilkie, after they get a second ring, maybe Wilkie retires. Nye, these guys might retire, right? So I have to represent, even though they retain their grade, something must have changed. So I'll be making changes to their roster. But they at least maintain their quality, which is amazing. All right, Springfield's GM last year is a B, so let's see what they do in the offseason. So I got to remember my own dang rules. 4 on B is offense. Oh, Springfield, the one thing they had was an offense. Their coach is a C. Oh, no, and they're changing their offense. They cannot afford this because their defense retains their D grade. Folks, this is not good. Springfield on the C chart for their coach. 6. B. They maintain their grade, but again, I'll reflect this in Grantham. Well, in somebody changing. One of these veteran offensive stars will probably retire. And so the change will be represented in a player moving on or something, right? Or a new rookie coming in, maybe. All right, Middletown. Last year, their GM was a A. All right, so let's see what they do in the offseason on the A chart. A's are pretty rare changes. Only 34% chance a change is going to happen. Yep, and their defense. Oh, Middletown. So they're going to keep their offense, which is a D. Not good. They're making a change to the wrong side of the ball. Oh, Middletown. Their GM last year, or this year, A. Or last year, A. Oh, boy. Can they get an 8? Nope, they're going to end up a B, which is a change, but it isn't a change. So star. If they change up or down, I mark them up or down. So every team that's seen a change didn't change, if you see my point. They maintained their A, although somebody left the team or joined the team. They maintained their grade, or somebody retired or came in. Same thing here. So we've had 3 of them potentially could have changed. They didn't. All right, Grand Bay's last year's GM is a B on the charts. There is a 50-50 chance something will change. 4, yep, their offense. Uh-oh. And Grand Bay's coach is a C. Okay, so their offense is changing. Their coach is a C. Grand Bay had a decent offense. They really can't afford a big change here. Grand Bay's was a C, so they could go up. If I roll a 6, they'll go up. Nope, they're going to be a C, so they change, but they don't change. So again, we'd note that as Grantham retiring, as he is the oldest quarterback in football. So the easiest way to represent that is Grantham will leave, and we'll have a new quarterback come in. All right, the defense stays the same, which was a C. So they're going to be pretty mediocre again. All right, Coldell's GM last year was a B. So let's look at the chart. 4. Oh, he might improve something. B. 4 is offense change. Uh-oh. So the defense for Coldell will remain the same, which is a B. And their head coach is a B. So let's see if Georgievics can improve this offense. They need a 4, 5, or 6 would be ideal. And 3. Nope. Their offense is actually going to go down, I believe. Coldell was a B. Yep. So I mark it as going down for this season. 53. So there's been one team that suffered a change, and Coldell, as I said, their window of being a champion is narrowing, and guess what? They've just had their offense slip a notch. I think Coldell's window for being a championship team may be over. And then Unionville, B, and went 2-5. So if I wasn't rolling this chart, I would fire that coach, right? But as it is, they have a CGM for this year's offseason. And there's a good chance he's going to change something. No change. This is another reason you fire these guys. Unionville was horrible. DC, and their GM rests on his laurels, says, no, we're fine. We just got to work together as a team. What is the worst thing you can say about players? What's the worst single thing you can say about players? Well, they have potential. That's the thing you don't want to hear anyone say about players or about you. If you're a player, hey, Jason, you got potential. I don't want to hear that. That's a bad sign. What's the worst thing you can say about teams? That will be okay. The worst thing you say about teams, that they are complacent. And the worst team in the league with the worst defensive production of giving up 174 points in 7 weeks. They gave up 174 divided by 7. They gave up 25 points a game in this league. And their GM and owner said, status quo, baby. We don't want to spend any money making changes. Can you believe it? And there it is, folks. Our offseason's done. I can now make the tweaks to the rosters based on my notation. So I know the defense changed for Central City, although it didn't go down. I can justify that by bringing in new names as rookies or retiring old players, something like that. Right? Now, again, I can use my cap rules also to dictate whether a guy actually leaves or not before I invent a rookie. But I like using this as a narrative to just change players out. Then I don't have to track time at all. I know if they're veterans. I know how long they've been around because I keep a sheet like this every year. So there we have it, folks. We have wrapped up the entire. We previewed the championship game. We played the championship game. And within this hour or whatever it's been, we have been able to also do the entire offseason. Now all that I have to do is actually make the narrative changes to my rosters and players and make my new index cards for next year with their new grades. And then I'm ready to start, take the schedule. I flip and reverse schedules. So not only do I flip the weeks, I'll flip the week and I'll flip home and away. So I infinitely I can take one schedule and as long as my teams don't change, I just flip and rotate, and it basically keeps the schedule infinite. It's very simple. So I don't have to do a lot of administrative work between seasons except writing up the new changes. And there's only one team. The team that needed to change the most didn't change at all. Except next year, their GM, so I can see what happened. Brandeis met with the GM. So John Brandeis, who owns Brandeis Steel Company, who technically, for tax purposes, is the steel company owns Unionville Tufts. But Brandeis is the managing general partner. And you could just see Brandeis and Tucci sit down and say, listen, let's hang in there and keep things status quo, but next year, we're going to spend some money on scouting. We're going to bring in more scouts, and we're going to be preparing ourselves for a big change next year. So you can see Brandeis. Tucci probably would like to fire Hill right now because it was a miserable season. But you could just see Brandeis saying, cool your heels. I don't want to pay that kid's contract off, so let's go ahead and keep Hill one more year. But I promise you we'll spend the money in preparing for next year. And Tucci may want to resign if things don't get better. But this is what happens when you have a owner who might be in one way or another trying to save money and making promises towards something else. So who knows? But they do go up next year. They'll go up in their GM grade. But the one team that really needed to change didn't change, and so that's fascinating. And today, by the way, so I anticipated the last time I updated this sheet was when I started the 52 season. 7/6/26 is when I started the 1952 campaign. I wrote it all down here, carrying it over, did my off season. I wrote down the date, and it's taken me quite a few months to get to 1953. So I'll put a date here, 1 month and almost 2 months to wrap up when I made this sheet versus when did I start though? When did I actually start the games? Because that's not going to be totally true here. 8/21 is when I did the off season. Oh, by the way, and the champion, champ. Oh wait, no. Whoops. Central City was the champ. It's over here. Results. So Central City is the champ for 52, and the runner-up, Springfield runner-up. They at least got to a championship for the first time. We don't know yet for 52. Okay, I need to redo these rosters and make new index cards for 53. So pretty simple, pretty fast actually. Doesn't take long, I'm talking a lot. But I was going to check now to see when I started this. So you can see I had anticipated August through September for 2025. That's when this 51 went on. June. So when did I start the Kickoff Spectacular? Yeah, 52. So way back. What is the kickoff? Here it is. The Kickoff Spectacular. 5/4/26. So May, I expected I would finish it in June. It's actually going to be completed. So this was technically May. June, and it's completed in August 2026 was when I finished it. So August through September was 51, 2025, and May through August. So it took me a month to finish 51 in 2025. This year, so much going on with all the new games, parallax football, gridiron, revisions of some older games, just a lot going on, tally-ho. We've done a lot in 2026. We've been incredibly productive as a company, and as a designer and a writer and an author, I've been productive. So this slipped a little bit. It took May, June, July, and that was May 4th. Jiminy Christmas. So May, June, July, all of July, almost 4 months to finish a very simple 7-week season of 1952 because I had so much else going on, which I'm not complaining about. It's just I take my time. Sometimes it doesn't bother me if I don't need to finish things in a record time. Sometimes I'll get on a roll though and be really going, and I don't want to lose momentum, and I'll play a ton quickly. So I need to get another one of these Stenopad notebooks out for 1953. I'll be able to do my off-season notations in the remainder of this book. So look what's left in this book, 2 pages. So I got 2 complete seasons with championship games, and I can retire this. I won't waste time on those 2 sheets of paper. So 48, 49, 50, 51, and 52. Now I got to do 53 and 54, and man, it is so much fun. I don't use steno books for my other sports. I use just notebooks and notebook paper. And then I'll bind them together with a zip tie. I think I talked about this on the channel. Before I retire them into a box or folder, I'll zip tie everything together, and I'll put a page on the front that says 1949 basketball, Big Country Basketball Association. We'll go on the front with dates, and then I'll put a zip tie in that, and all those notebook pages will go into a box that goes into the shed. Sometimes I keep them handy. Like I always keep my football stuff handy because I play football more than anything. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Good day.